Welcome to Screening Room. I'm Alex Riley.
I'm Katy Pence.
And I'm Tim Boettcher.
You know, the winter season is coming upon us. We're only a few weeks away from the official winter season. And that means that in Wisconsin, it's going to get very, very cold. And what better way to spend your winter evenings than to watch a movie? And what better movies to watch than that of Brad Pitt? And that is our theme of today. We're going to start off with Katy. What do you got for us today?
All right. Well, set in 1250 BC Greece, the story of the Trojan War is one that many people are familiar with. However, the 2004 film Troy is not straight out of Homer's Odyssey. Youngest prince of Troy, Paris, played by the hunky Orlando Bloom, falls in love with the beautiful Helen, played by Diane Kruger. She's already married to Menelaus, king of Sparta. However, Paris is beyond in love with her and stows her away on the ship. She is discovered, however, by Crown Prince of Troy, Hector, played by Eric Bana. He's discovered her stowed away and knows that Paris has brought war upon the people of Troy. Hector is absolutely correct, and soon Menelaus and Agamemnon, his brother, are landing the largest fleet seen in this day on the shores of Troy. In order to secure victory, they need the best warrior, the undefeated Achilles, played by who else but by Brad Pitt. Before I give too much away, though, let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer.
I've fought many wars in my time. Some are fought for land, some for power, some for glory. I suppose fighting for love makes more sense than all the rest. Do you love her?
Father, you are a great king because you love all of Troy. That is the way I love Helen.
I want her back. Will you go to war with me, brother?
They're coming for me. The wind is bringing them closer.
This'll be the greatest war the world has ever seen. We need the greatest warrior.
Achilles can't be controlled.
Be careful, King of Kings. First you need the victory.
I won't ask you to fight my war. You already have. The loser will burn before nightfall.
Immortality! Take it! It's yours!
No son of Troy will ever submit to a foreign ruler.
Then every son of Troy shall die.
Now you know who you're fighting. Is there no one else? Is there no one else?
If you're looking for a great Greek story, this is it. There's an all-star cast here. You've got all sorts of great people like Orlando Bloom, Brad Pitt, Diane Kruger, who was previously an unknown actress. This story is really, really great because it also doesn't go too much into the gods and goddesses, magic and fantasy. It's really kind of historically accurate, and you get the feel that, this actually happened. This could have been how the real story played out. So I really love that they really fact-checked and they did a great job telling the story from a historical standpoint. So what about you guys? What did you think of the story?
I really liked it. I mean, based off of Homer's, you said the Odyssey, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also in the Iliad, too,
Yeah.
so it gets told a whole bunch of different times.
I mean, it was a good movie. It's a solid action film. I didn't take too much thinking throughout it, which was nice.
One thing I personally liked about this movie is that, everybody will usually say that, oh, I like the book a lot better than the movie. And this is one of the cases that I like the movie better than the book because it's a little bit shorter. Because granted, the Iliad, the Odyssey, those are giant novels on their own, whereas this is cut down to about half an hour, or hour and a half to 2 hours, roughly about that, correct? So that's one thing I like about it. It's a little bit shorter, it can grab your attention. Plus, too, I'm a sucker for Greek and Roman mythology, so
I think it makes it really approachable too, because if you don't know anything about mythology, you can really quickly get overwhelmed with all of the gods' names and the demigods and who's related to who. And if you sort of want to get into it, or you sort of want to learn about, the history behind these, it's a really approachable film. You can kind of get a taste for what it's like without, totally getting hit over the head with it.
Yeah.
agreed. And one thing that you said perfectly is that this isn't a movie that focuses completely on the gods and goddesses. It's more historically accurate, and by that meaning that, yes, they're mentioned. So, for example, may Poseidon give you, great waves or something like that to sail to Troy. But it's not saying, it's not like he's gonna pop out. It's like, oh, I'm Poseidon. What's going on? And stuff like that. So it's nice that they don't really make a actual huge reference and make a big deal about the gods and goddesses.
I feel like if you have gods or goddesses, in this storyline, it's really easy to just kind of, ignore actual storytelling. Like, why did this happen? Oh, well, it was the gods. And I think that kind of cheats out, the viewers when you just kind of default to that. So I was really happy that they decided not to go that route.
Agreed. And one thing I actually really like about the Trojan War is that for anybody that's a history buff, or maybe not, is that the Trojan War was actually what really defined Roman mythology. That's actually how Roman mythology began, was the after effect of the Trojan War. And that's what I like about it, at least.
Let's take a moment, though, and talk about Brad Pitt in this. Brad Pitt plays Achilles, the undefeated warrior, and, of course, everybody knows your Achilles heel.
Yep.
And I love how they make a reference to it when, and in the final scene, I won't give it away too much, one of the final scenes, they do make a reference to the Achilles heel and the mythology with that. But Brad Pitt, I thought, did just, a stunning job.
But as a woman, who would you say was hotter in this movie?
I don't know. I mean, I feel for Eric Bana's character, Hector, who is the crown prince of Troy. So I feel for his character. He's got, a wife, and he's really trying to protect his country. But then I look at, Orlando Bloom's character, Paris, and I'm just like, oh my God, he's fallen in love, and he's so...
Well, while you're smitten with your little crushes there from Troy, we're going to take a quick break and look at those adorable pets from the Cooley Region Humane Society. And let's take a look at Perfect Pets. Welcome back to Screening Room, and the number for the Cooley Region Humane Society, is 781-4014. Now, we looked at Troy, and now we're going to go a few years later in production for movies. Tim, what do you got for us?
Well, today I have The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button is a story about a man who ages in reverse. Now, originally, this was a short story written by F. Scott Fitzgerald, who wrote The Great Gatsby. And the movie is directed by David Fincher, who is also of Fight Club and Seven with Brad Pitt also. But the story opens with a bedridden woman who is being accompanied by her daughter, and her daughter is reading the autobiography of the character in case. And it starts out with the parents basically rejecting the baby because it looks old, and he goes through life aging in reverse. So let's take a look at the trailer.
You never know what's coming for you.
My name is Benjamin Button,
What in God's name?
and I was born under unusual circumstances.
Infirmity's not of a newborn, but of a man well in his 80s on his way to the grave.
He's dying?
Of old age.
God in heaven, he looks just like my ex-husband.
I didn't know I was a child. I thought I was an old man in the twilight of his life.
How old are you?
7, but I look a lot older.
He's 7.
You are a different child. People aren't gonna understand just how different you are.
Benjamin, you are looking strikingly youthful.
And one afternoon, I met the person who changed my life forever.
Are you sick?
They said I was gonna die soon, but maybe not.
You're odd.
What if I told you that I wasn't getting older, but I was getting younger than everybody else? Daisy? It's me, Benjamin.
Oh my God. We always said you were different. I think you really are.
Everybody feels different about themselves, one way or another. We all going the same way. Just taking different roads to get there, that's all.
I want to remember us just as we are now.
You're on your own road, Benjamin.
What's it like growing younger? I can't really say. I'm always looking at my own eyes. Our lives are defined by opportunities.
We are not little children anymore, Benjamin.
Even the ones we miss. I was thinking how nothing lasts. What a shame that is.
Some things last.
This was a very touching film that excellently showcased Brad Pitt's acting abilities. I mean, he had to go from being an elderly man to basically being a child. And along with that, you get a nice love story in there for all the ladies out there. And it had action scenes, had pretty much everything. It even won 3 Academy Awards for Best Art Direction, Makeup, and Visual Effects, and was nominated for 10 other awards. But what were your guys' thoughts?
Seems like you were getting a little choked up when you were kind of talking about the rest of that, wasn't it?
It was kind of sad. I mean...
Kind of? It was pretty sad. Come on.
Kind of
I cried. I'll admit it. I cried like a little girl. I was really sad.
I don't cry.
But you just get choked up?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Choking back with tears.
Well, one thing I really like about this movie is that, you know, you kind of talk about the Benjamin Button, how he ages in reverse and everything. And I really like that even though he's a very old man when he's growing up, it's also kind of the same process that he kind of just seems like a senile old man. And the other sense is that when he becomes a kid and he's, you know, when he's getting older and he's becoming a little kid and everything, aging reverse process, it kind of is the same way. And then while he's in the middle, it's, you know, he just acts like a normal human being. So that's one thing I like. It was very interesting. It's very curious.
My only concern with this movie is how similar it was to Forrest Gump, which I kind of noticed early on. It starts out with him just telling his life, and he's on crutches and eventually learns to walk at a later age because I think he's 7 at the time in the film when he first gets out.
Yep.
And even throughout the film, like, he's going through history and he's just kind of there, but I don't know.
I really liked it. I really loved Cate Blanchett, her character Daisy, who plays Benjamin's love interest throughout the film. I think she did, you know, a rock star job of having to, you know, identify that, okay, so he's playing this character who's actually younger. How do I identify with that? So I think she did, you know, an absolutely fabulous job of, you know, being able to act with that and remember who her character was in relation to Benjamin's character. So I loved her in that role. I think, I don't know, it was very sad, but it was very kind of inspiring at the end when her daughter finally learns the secrets that her mother's been keeping all these years. And, you know, knowing that her mother now can, you know, go to a better place, totally unburdened. So I thought it was very touching at the end. Even though it was sad, I really liked it.
I even liked the name of the character Daisy, which is kind of a throwback to Great Gatsby. They even had a scene of her getting hit by a car by a yellow car, which if you read the story, then you should know. Hopefully you have.
Well, that's usually how it's supposed to go, right?
Yeah. I mean,
well, one thing I really did like is that you have Daisy who takes care of Benjamin when she was a kid, kind of like showing him the ropes of being a kid, and then the other time when she gets really older, she take care of him as a kid. Well, that's all we have time to talk about for Benjamin Button. It was a great movie, but we got more to talk about. We got another movie review and some other featured things for Brad Pitt right after we take a look at this.
At the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, surround yourself with potential. Surround yourself with lifelong friends. step on campus and be welcomed with a friendly smile. It's just like home. Surround yourself with nature's beauty. Nestled in western Wisconsin's driftless area, it's perfect for learning. Hike the bluffs, bike the marsh, soar. Surround yourself with challenging academics. Our motto is Mens Corpus Gang, Latin for mind and body. Experience a whole education. Conduct research. Surround yourself with distinction. Surround yourself with UW Lacrosse.
Welcome back to Screen Room. Now, we've looked at two great Brad Pitt movies. We've looked at Troy, and we looked at The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Now it's my turn to talk about one of my favorite movies, Inglourious Bastards. Now, for those that have seen this movie, they know that it does occupy Nazi-occupied France. It's in World War II. The Nazis are doing whatever they can to do to flush out and exterminate Jews, as you would expect in a World War II movie involving the Nazis. And one of the most proficient and prolific of the Jewish hunters being the sadistic SS Colonel Hans Landa. As such, the American military responds by forming a unit led by Lieutenant Aldo Raine, starred by Brad Pitt, of course, and compromised of 8 Jews in the Bastards to kill as many Nazis as possible. Raine requests that each of his men bring him back at least 100 Nazi scalps, and he wants his scalps, because this is the Nazi killing business, and business is booming. Now, before I give too much away, let's take a quick look at Inglourious Bastards.
Ten hot! Eyes forward! My name is Lieutenant Aldo Raine, and I need me 8 soldiers. We're gonna be dropped into France dressed as civilians. We're gonna be doing one thing only. Killing Nazis.
Yes, sir!
Members of the National Socialist Party have conquered Europe through murder, torture, intimidation, and terror. And that's exactly what we're gonna do to them. We will be cruel to the German. And through our cruelty, they will know who we are. They will find the evidence of our cruelty in the disemboweled, dismembered, and disfigured bodies of their brothers we leave behind us. And the German will not be able to help themselves from imagining the cruelty their brothers endured at our hands, and our boot heels, and the edge of our knives. And the German will be sickened by us. The German will talk about us, and the German will fear us. Nazi ain't got no humanity. They need to be destroyed. Each and every man under my command owes me 100 Nazi scalps, and I want my scalps.
9.
Sound good?
Yes, sir!
This is without a doubt one of my favorite movies of all time. It has a star-studded blockbuster featuring stars from both the United States and Germany, such as, on top of Brad Pitt, you have B.J. Novak, who you may recognize from The Office, Mike Myers, who needs no other introduction, and then from Germany, we have Daniel Buell, who starred in German films such as Goodbye Lenin and Lola Rent, and if you've done German for as long as I have, you've seen those movies plenty of times, so the face is pretty recognizable, and Til Schweiger. And one thing that I really liked about this movie is that, granted, it's not very accurate in the history because there's a lot of stuff that happens towards the end of the movie that wouldn't happen in the normal history books, but it definitely was very enjoyable. What did you guys think about the movie?
Well, it's a Quentin Tarantino film, so, I mean, it's pretty easy to just get into the film itself and really appreciate his filmmaking, but he uses Brad Pitt really well and all the actors. Who's the general?
The General, Hans Landa?
Yeah.
I believe his name was Chris Medwitz.
Yeah, he was really good in Django.
Yeah.
Django Unchained.
And I think he won Best Supporting Actor.
He did. He actually won. There was many nominations for Academy Awards, but he was the only one that actually walked away with one for Best Supporting Actor.
I don't know. I don't really know what I expected from this movie, but that was not it. I got dragged along with some friends to go see it. I wanted to see something totally different. And they told me, it's not going to be totally accurate. It's about, World War II. And so, you know, the whole scenes, especially the Shoshana plot, was not something I was expecting at all. I was thinking it was just going to be, you know, a big, bloody, gory film, whole bunch of action scenes, not a lot of, you know, dialogue and actual plot. But I mean, I was pleasantly surprised in, you know, the plot with Shoshana and, you know, actually moving, you know, an actual plot along. So I was pleasantly surprised there. The rest of the movie, I could take it or leave it. I would have liked to have seen something a little bit more historically accurate, but, you know, I'll take what I can get, I suppose.
You don't go into a Tarantino movie expecting historical accuracy.
You want to talk about awkward moments? Is that one of the 3 times that I went to go see it in theaters, one of the times I brought my German exchange student.
What were their thoughts?
Oddly enough, I was actually worried. I was like, so what did you think of the movie? The only thing that she didn't like was the actor for Hitler. In my defense, though, I mean, I don't think any actor signs up to say, I want to be Hitler. Yes, me, over here. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
it's not something good to put on a resume.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find a good actor for Hitler, so you kind of have to take what you can get. And one of my favorite scenes has to be the cinema scene with the Italians and everything, because, you know, what better way to have Brad Pitt in a Southern accent talking in Italian? And another thing I really enjoy is that Hans Landa, he was the perfect Jew hunter in the sense that he did not leave any stone unturned. You know, if one thing looked out of the ordinary, he was going to hunt that down. And anybody would be like, you know what, that's fine, don't worry about it. He's like, oh, this is something, I like it. Let's take a look at that.
Something, I guess, that, I mean, I understand that it's, you know, a film set in Germany and, you know, it's all about Germans, but it was like less than a third of the movie was in English. And, you know, if you're going to premiere, you know, such a big film, I mean, it was pretty highly promoted. If you're going to premiere such a big film here in the U.S., it would have been nice to actually, you know, pay attention to what they're saying instead of always, you know, reading the little subtitles down on the bottom, you know, and missing what's actually going on the screen.
It's too bad they don't put disclaimers
Yeah.
on film trailers.
It just would have been nice to be able to, you know, watch the film as opposed to reading it, I suppose.
Agreed. Now, we've taken a look at all these 3 movies, but let's talk about some of the other movies. Clearly, Brad Pitt's been in more than just 3 movies his entire career. So, what are some of your guys' other favorite related movies?
Well, I mentioned earlier that he worked with David Fincher and Benjamin Button, and he had previously worked with him in Seven and Fight Club. So let's talk about that.
Let's not talk about Fight Club because that would be breaking the first and second rule.
Oh.
You don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't do it.
Wait, what don't I talk about?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Oh.
I really like Brad Pitt in all the Ocean's movies.
That's true. I mean, what ocean are they now on? Is it just 13?
400 for all I know.
Ocean 400?
Probably.
Ocean 400 coming out in theaters.
World War Z.
World War Z just came out
I have
recently.
yet to see that, but I really loved the book.
My roommates actually just saw World War Z when it came out on DVD, and they said they really liked it. It was pretty action-packed. And another movie we can expect to see Brad Pitt in is Fury, which will be coming out next year in 2014. So be sure to check that out when it comes out into the theaters. And then what's some other ones that we've had? Moneyball. Has anybody seen Moneyball? I really want to see that one.
I have not seen Moneyball, unfortunately. He was in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is a couple my friends' like absolute hands-down favorite movie with Brad Pitt in it. So every time.
Isn't that what started him and Angelina Jolie's romance? Or were they?
I think they were already a couple, and then they did this movie.
Okay.
But it's definitely that whole like age-old Mad TV spy versus spy, and then it became a little bit more realistic in movies. That's what I like to think about it. What about The Mexican? That's another one he's been in. Has anybody seen that?
I haven't seen that one.
Oh my God! You know, for a crew that we talk highly about Brad Pitt, we don't seem to do our research to actually watch so many Brad Pitt movies.
We just like looking at them.
Just like looking. Oh, that's fair.
I've got my favorite Brad Pitt movies, and I'll just stick to those.
Yeah. You know, something interesting is that has anybody watched King of the Hill? Can we at least?
Of course.
Well, Brad Pitt actually voiced Boomhauer's brother during his wedding episode.
Man.
I mean, go figure. It's one of those voices you would not expect anybody to know, and you could just pick anybody off the streets, but they picked Brad Pitt of all people.
Well, King of the Hill used a lot of famous celebrities and just threw them in. But that's the beauty of voice acting.
That's a good point. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more Screen Room right after this.
More and more loving animals are in need of a caring home. On Saturday, November 23rd, you have the opportunity to make a difference. Tune in to KQEG from 7 to 10 p.m. as they host the 15th Annual Cooley Region Humane Society Telethon. With your kind donations, you can help these animals.
Welcome back to Screening Room. Now we've taken a look at some great Brad Pitt movies. Now let's see what some other movies that will be coming up here in the near future. We have Thor: The Dark World, that's in theaters currently, Las Vegas, Freebirds, Bad Grandpa, Ender's Game, and Gravity 3D.
I'm super excited to see Ender's Game. It's been, so hyped up, and I'm pumped to see it. I loved the book.
I really want to see Bad Grandpa. I love Johnny Knoxville.
I really want to see Bad Grandpa.
Well, and he also has that little kid with him, and it's just comedy gold right there.
Well, because he's just trying to help out his grandkid, and then he ends up making all these wacky shenanigans. Ender's Game, a couple of friends of mine have seen that, and then they seem to enjoy it. Thor: The Dark World, a couple of my roommates actually went to go see the midnight showing, and they seem pretty impressed with that. So
how can you not be impressed with Thor? That man is such a hunk.
Not as much as Brad Pitt.
That's up for debate.
Chris Hemsworth's got his moments.
And his brother coming out on Thursday with Catching Fire.
That might be something we might have to talk about that a little bit later. But what's coming up new on DVD?
For DVD, we have the Superman Man of Steel, Turbo, which is about the super fast snail.
Super fast.
The Citizen, Disney's Planes, which is just a cheap ripoff of Cars, White House Down, and Grown Ups 2.
I heard Man of Steel was pretty good. My cousin, is a filmmaker, and he's all like, "Oh, it was great. The cinematography was fabulous."
Mr. Engstrand talks very highly of that movie.
That's true. And then Grown Ups 2, I mean, that's definitely not going to be one I'm going to go see because I didn't see Grown Ups 1, and I feel like Grown Ups 2 is definitely that. Let's just milk this for what we can, and if they come out with Grown Ups 3, then I'm just done.
Well, you're going to miss out on all the plot devices as well.
That's true. And then, as we mentioned, Disney's Planes, that's definitely a cheap ripoff.
I was kind of sad, like a new Disney movie, yes! And then, it's about planes.
It's literally the same plot, isn't it?
Pretty much,
yeah. Instead of cars, it's planes and everything, so they just have different planes and everything. Was it the guy's like afraid of heights or something, which is supposed to be like an oxymoron because he's a plane or something like that?
New at the Rib, we've got Despicable Me 2, We're the Millers, Rush, and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the old one, not the new one with Johnny Depp.
Now, it's I actually saw this when I was walking downtown, is that Rivoli, what they're doing, the reason that they have Willy Wonka is so they can digitally remaster it and kind of get back on the gravy train that was the original Willy Wonka.
I have to say, I like the old one with Gene Wilder way more than the new one with Johnny Depp. I mean, that one's good too, but, when you compare them, I like the old one.
The newer one is closer to the book and Roald Dahl's image of, like, how it was supposed to be, but you can't turn down Gene Wilder.
No way.
Gene Wilder is a genius, and he's the man. That's what I think.
Pretty much.
And We're the Millers. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews about this. Have any of you guys seen that?
I haven't seen it. I've been meaning to. It looks pretty funny to me. I think it'll be good for a laugh, especially over at the Rivoli.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, especially with the Rivoli is like is it really such a bad thing about going to see a movie? I mean, really, you get a really cheap discount. You can pretty much get all your stuff for the equivalent of buying it at the the box office premiere theater.
They have alcohol.
They have alcohol. I mean, if you're 21 plus, of course. Yeah. Well, that's some of the things that you can expect from some of the other movies. And other than the ones that we mentioned, what movies are we all looking forward to? I mean, you mentioned Catching Fire.
Catching Fire. It's coming out on Thursday. I've just bought my tickets for the 8:35 at Marcus Cinema. If anybody wants to come sit by me, I'll be screaming like a little fangirl.
Coming out on DVD soon is The World's End, which is basically the sequel to Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
That sounds like a great time. We'll have to check those all out, and you will as well. For Katie and Tim, I'm Alex Riley. This has been Screening Room. Thank you for joining us.